Hey kids, Mr. Glenn here. I hope you are well. Now, we are going to go and have a look at part 6 in our game making, and this part is about game flow and progression. And we're going to control the game and how the game progresses from one inspection to the next. And so we're going to try and help it prevent skipping. So we're going to use certain triggers in here. We're going to see if we can track our progress with a counter. We can know that we can put points and scores and things, but there are different ways in which we can create points and scores, as well as a thing called a player profile. What this means is that you can create certain behaviors in the game, and then you can report those behaviors to the player and to see how well they are progressing. So it doesn't need to be sort of points. You can put points to it, so they can get points and scores, and things can happen with the points and scores. We've talked about that before. But this is about using different parts of getting scores. And so we can move to things in an item list, moving from one place to the next. Let's go and take a look at this. So in our game, we had a part of our game which was a NPC that followed us, and it followed us around, and it's called social medias. It was another sprite called social media. And this kind, when it bumped into us, it said, hey, I've got a new product. So he's trying to sell us something, and this ludicrous product called dihydrogen monoxide, which is actually just H2O, which is water. It says it's a superfood and want to buy some. So we have to work out what's happening with this, and then we have to go and choose based on these options, and then we do something with those options. We know about this, we've done this already in a previous session, okay? However, what we would like to go and discover is, if I just zoom out for a second, there is a gap that I've made for us, which is here. What happens when that process has worked and we've overlapped with our social media? Once we've completed those tasks, the social media icon and NPC disappears. It destroys itself. So when we go into sprites, if we just have a look at, if I just zoom in a little bit so we can see it a bit clearer, there we go. You have on destroy, and so when we have a life cycle of a character, whatever character or sprite it is in the game, we can get a result from that. So if this, then that. So undestroyed type of social media, which was our player type, we can go and get different aspects to go and work in here. So we can go and get a process now of what's going to happen in our social media. We can go and get a trigger to other more ludicrous things. So once you've clicked on something on social media, you then can go and get advertised for different aspects based on your choices. So if you got rid of that and you didn't believe this, then the social media feed and algorithm is going to go and try and get you to try and choose something else. This, if this or that, is called A/B testing, and so it's a real life algorithmic trait that's inside your apps, that if you don't like this, maybe you'd like this, and if you don't like this, maybe you like this. It's called A/B testing. So in our story, we can go into our story and we can start to tell our characters, you know, what we want them to say and what we can get them to say. So we can use the printed character text and we can get it to start to appear on the screen. So using story, we can now go and ask our players certain things. So really quickly, I went and put this together so I don't waste your time watching me type. Again, I've set the time so that each block allows the text to stay on the screen like we've used before, and then this one here, it says a new one. It says rich people send their dogs on holiday, okay? And I put a label here called viral. Now this can be viral, this could be a scam, this could be, if you've got your email, then it can be a spam mail, or it's phishing or something like that. In this case, I'm trying to get you to buy something that is going to seem real, but actually it isn't. So I found a place that people do send their dogs on a holiday, and they send their dogs to Dog Island, okay? And so Dog Island is a real place. Now this label now has question marks because it's now it's trying to get you to work out whether Dog Island is actually a real place. And so you can put the URL in, dogisland.com, and this is it's a real website. There is a real website, and so then the player then has to go and evaluate whether this is actually a real place. So dogisland.com, the players actually just have to go into their browser and work out where and what is happening with Dog Island. And so here is the dogisland.com, and well, it seems like there's lots of players, there's lots of things going on. There are 1,500 big dogs, 988 medium dogs, etc, etc, etc. Okay, so put that in, and now my players need to evaluate whether this is real or not. So this one now is, it seems real, and I'm just doing the same things I'm doing to you right now. It seems real, it's got a real site. Show player choices. Now this time, we're definitely going to have to go into yes, no, maybe. Okay, so we've got this, this, or this. Okay, so then what we do now is we go and use some logic, which is the blue icon, which is the blue area here. And so we then go and use the if this is true, and then we go and put this together based on their previous choices. So here's my logic, and I've got my last answer equals, which is from here, last answer equals, which is this hexagonal block, and so I've got yes, maybe, and then the last one else is going to be no. So, and then now I need to go and collect some data in here, but I need to go and store the data. Before we've gone and collected the data, we use the data, and then we simply put a score at the top or life at the top. This is up to you now whether you want to go and put this into your game or not, but this is just an ingredient that you are able to go and put into your game. And here, this is what I'm going to present to you. I'm going to present to you something new, and this is called an array. An array is essentially a list of items that you can go and write to, you can go and edit, but you can also pull out of it too. It's very, very, very powerful in a way that scores cannot do this. Inside arrays, you can have text and you can have pictures too. So it means that you can pull a picture out of it and place a picture from the list. In the list, the lists are numbered, and each number begins with a 0. In a list, they begin in 0. So we'll look at this in a second. So you can say, I want this text here from the first one, which is 0. And I've got this one here, and I've called this one my player profile. Set value at 0, fake site believed, alert. Okay, pretending that this is a fake site. It seems legit. However, let's go and have a look at what arrays actually are. Arrays are in the advanced section here, and they are in this one here, and you can see that they match the kind of orange, the deeper orange color. You can see it's got a create at the top, and it says set list array. Now this list one can be text and pictures at the same time. They can be different things. The text list can only be letters and numbers. So here you've got letters and numbers in here. This has to go into the start block of our game, so that at the beginning of the game, wherever the character is going and where the player is going, that the list is always going to be active. Here you've got the read section, so you can go and get whatever is written at point 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever. Okay, and you can go and get and remove those texts, and you can put those things together, whatever's in there. So if it's A and B and C, you can have A, you can have A and B, you can have A, B and C, and you can have any combination A, C and B. You can have them in any order you want. But it means that you can create a profile of your player based on what you're telling them to go and do and choose from. And the profile is whether they believe these fake sites, whether they believe that dihydrogen monoxide is believable or not. And so you can see whether this player profile in this player is what we call gullible. they are sucked into these scams. So let's go and have a look at what these actually look like. So here's my start block, and you can see that I've got my player profile. So I can change the name of this. Normally it starts off as list. Now if you've only got one list, you can keep it as the word list, and that's totally fine. But I like to call it player profile so that when I read it later, I know exactly what it is. And you can see it starts off with 3 things here. Okay, so I have my list, and it is the ABC list. So if I go and add a new one here, you can see it puts it into a list. Here it puts it into a drop-down list, and this is 0, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3. Even though that we can see 4 of them in a computer list, computer lists start at 0. So why is this important? Why is this going to help us? Well, once we've got this into our start block, we can then go over to what's happening when we destroy social media. So going through this, once we destroy social media, we are then immediately given another advert in our feed. Let's go and check this out. Let's go and play this. So here I am in my game. I'm going to go and see social media. And this is dihydrogen monoxide. This is whether it's asking you to go and buy something. So we are going to go and pass this one, and we should get a score, or if the scores are still there, and we can get a score, or we can get some health. And then as soon as that's destroyed, it will go into that next block, which is the overlap for when something is destroyed. And here we go. So in our options, we only have yes working. So we're going to go and choose yes. And you can see that I've got a score, but I can go and edit that score, and we can go and change our score or our health based on what we want. Now, at the moment, we can't actually see what's going into our list. However, what we can do though is we can present our players with their choices that they have just chosen and say, you have gone and chosen this. Do you want another go, or are you sure that this is what's occurring? But let's just go and show what we can do with our list. So from game, we can go and put a full screen dialogue with long text. And this long text can also be put into a frame, and it can also be used as part of our game and part of our alerts for our players. Now the great thing about this is that this block here, if you notice, has an oval block, which allows us to go and put oval objects in there, and it will represent the oval object, or whatever's in the oval object, on that frame. Let's just pop into arrays for this. And so what we can do then is get our value at 0, because that's the first one it goes into, and we can say list here, but we know that list is actually our player profile, so get value at 0, and we can put that into here, and it will display the text that is in the list full screen like that. So then you can say fake site believed, and then you can give your players options again as to what they want to do about this. Most of the time, though, in our game, they've already chosen, and so then they're going to get a lesser score until they play the game again. So kind of depending on how harsh you want your game to be, you can go and change life by 1, and you can probably go and set your score to 0 in this respect. And let's go and check out and go through that process one more time, and you can see what's going to happen with perhaps maybe and no. Let's go full screen. Let's go and refresh our game. Let's go into our social media. I'm going to pass on this one. So I'm going to hit yes, and let's see what happens with our scores. Hopefully everything is tickety-boo. Fake site believed, and there is the first part of our list. We've called our list into the frame. So this means that you can pull in whole strings now inside here depending on where you are at the game. So if they've got this already in their player profile, you can then go and pull in different profiles and different parts of their profile into here, and which means you are able to go and score your players as they go through the game. So we've got our score, our life back down to, we've lost a life, and then we've gone, and unfortunately we've not set our score to 0. We'll work that out in a second. However, what we can do now is start to think about what we want for maybe. So you can duplicate this, and you can give your players more scores or more points or more lives if you want to, because they have a fake site, not believed, but they're going to go and evaluate it. Now, the point here is that for this social media on destruction, these are all in the first part of the list. What we're doing is we're giving a profile change to that first option. So once we've gone and chosen maybe, then it says site investigated, and site investigated goes into the list, not fake site believed. Because then the site investigated, we can say, well done, you've checked it out, but you didn't action it. And of course, what we can do then is we can also go in and say that on no, fake site known about, and you can give your players more points and change their score, or you can go and set score to whatever they want to go and do with it. Okay, so what can we do next? Now that we've got everything happening on our social media part, now that we are creating a profile, we can use these lists in other parts of the game. They don't have to be just here. They can be on all of the different tile maps. So when they go over to different parts, you can ask them different questions, and then those questions can then be stored as part of a player profile. Now, what to do with this player profile? This is a big question that will be coming up next. Well, inside your game, you've got two buttons. You've got an A button and a B button. Now, an option that you could apply here, if you wish, is that you can go and choose your B button to be pressed. You can go and get a frame up, have a cursor. Here I've got a blue dog, and my text is yellow. And it says your score, press A to find out your profile score. Okay, now, this is going to be a little bit more advanced, but interesting for anybody who wants to go and explore this. So, inside here, forgive me, you know that when I see different colors like this, that when they're very close, I struggle to see them, but I will show you where this is. This is in the math, so it's not quite blue, but it's close to blue. And so you can go and add your profiles now and add them together. So you can add the values of each bit, and when they go and press B, you can see that we can go and chain them together with 0, 1, 2, 3, and however many list parts you're going to be adding to it. And so we do that by getting our maths blocks, and we put our maths blocks together by putting them inside each other. So when we've got our long text in there, we can go and put the add together with ovals and other ovals, and the ovals can go inside each other like this, and then you can make strings of them like so. And so when one is added to the other, you can see that they are all added one after the other. Let's go and change that to 1. So you can go and put them together like so. Okay, so you can go and put them together in strings. And then each part of your values can go into each part of those zeros. So I'm going to leave it right here. As always, I'm going to go and undo all that so it's back to normal. As always, I'm going to wish you the greatest of luck, and see you soon.